come down here from New York and from Florida to find out my reasons on rock and roll music and why I preach against it, and I believe with all of my heart that it is a contributing factor to our juvenile delinquency of today. I 100% believe it. And why I believe that is because I know how it feels when you sing it. I know what it does to you. And I know the evil feeling that you feel when you sing it. I know the lost position that you get into in the beat. Well, if you talk to the average teenager of today and you ask them what it is about rock and roll music that they like, and the first thing they'll say is the beat, 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 the beat.
I'm not a juvenile delinquent.
It's hard to grow up. If a teenager has extra problems, emotional or social, it's even harder. Kids like this, not wanted by any other group or anyone else much, tend to hang out together. Kids like Joe Martin, he's hardly ever seen his mother sober. Or Fred Hammer, his father's in prison. Mike Kelly, he has to show off all the time, try to get attention. His parents are dead. He lives with his older sister. To her, he's just another mouth to feed in her large family. Harry Jackson gets too much spending money from his people. Money, never any of their time. And Jerry Phillips, rejected by his stepmother, let down by his father. He's the loneliest of the lot.
Now cut it out, you kid. Cut it out!
Rowdy kids, troubled kids headed for trouble. Still a couple of years from real crime. But with destruction and violence their only outlet, they're on their way to it. Unless their outlook can be changed.
What do you have, boys? I'll write your orders with my new pencil. Hey, those are great. My dad's got one just like it. Where'd you get it? We just swarmed all over a guy. Fell out of his pocket. What? When did this happen? Just before we picked you up.
We bumped some guy in a big Buick and he gets out and starts getting smart.
Yes, let's call his names.
Boy, did we give it to him. We sure messed him up. You should have been there, Jamie.
Who was he?
I don't know, some big bald-headed guy.
What kind of a card you say it was?
Oh, it was, what's the matter with you?
I asked you what kind of a car it was. I want to know. It was a yellow Buick. Why? What do you want to know for, Jamie? What's his trouble?
I don't know, but this isn't the place to find out.
We'll see him in the morning at school when we give this to him.
Teenage Doll is not a pretty picture. It can't be pretty and still be true, packed with shocking realities of what is happening today. In your city, your town, your neighborhood, thousands of young girls are becoming teenage dolls.
After all these years of playing footsie, you finally decided to play ball. Poor little Janet. Always wanted to move uptown, but never had enough guts to do anything about it. Shut up. So now she's going to go, but she don't want to admit to her kid sister.
Girls who learn the naked facts of life too young, too soon, and the hard way. Hellcats in tight pants, running in packs, hunting down any girl who dares defy their jungle code.
Well, I agree with Mr. Ginsburg to the extent that we do, in the mass media today, tend to coin phrases very rapidly. They become known very quickly. Juvenile delinquency has now become JD almost overnight. And we do love to name generations, and we've been naming them for quite a long time now. And we've had to have a name for this generation's been called the beat generation and the beat up generation and the shook generation. It has succeeded the silent generation. And
well, was that a term at one time, the silent generation?
Oh, yes. The silent generation was used, you probably know better than I do.
It was actually used to introduce a book of very formalistic poetry. The nature of it was mostly domestic and pretty weak-hearted.
Mm-hmm. When?
I think not very long ago, but almost simultaneous with the vogue of the beat generation.
Well, the silent generation got named sort of at the end of itself, just before the other word came in.
It was very silent.
It was so silent, there was nothing to say about it.
But do most people feel that the expression beat generation is a result of an aftermath of war?
So was the silent generation, after all. The silent generation was a post-war generation, too.
Because I have never heard, at least I cannot recall, where a title so held to itself and to the class that it represented as beat does. Yeah. Beat generation is something that in my time, it seems like the first time I've heard where a group of people were called by a name.
I might sort of to clarify a little, explain how the name came about. If
Please do, I would be interested.
Factually, Kerouac, in conversation with another novelist, were talking about Fitzgerald in the 20s, and strictly, non-officially, just like an after-dinner conversation or an after-drunk conversation, we're saying, well, like, what will we be called? And Kerouac said, probably we'll be called, God knows, like, the beat generation, or whatever. But it was sort of like, it might have been, we'll be called the Harry Lost generation, or the lovely generation, or the I like ice cream, watermelon soup generation. In other words, it was strictly a private joke. It wasn't intended as any great official pronunciamento.
Lean on it.
Drag strip girl, a teenage tantalizer with a chassis that'll make every man's motor roar.
You gonna come to my party then?
I get a little dizzy trying to remember which is my turn and which is Fred's.
Oh, I like you both. Is that a crime?
Here's your girlfriend. I just borrowed her for a few minutes.
It's an explosive triangle, highlighting Hollywood's new teenage stars. Pretty Faye Spain, pleasing Steve Terrell, enticing Judy Bamber, and dynamic John Ashley.
The energy they use up would generate enough electricity to run this city. Call that dancing.
Girls too fast becoming women. Boys who are almost men, teasing death to win the favors of drag strip girl.
How are you fixed for guts? No complaints that I know of. Okay. Then let's make part 2 a chickie run.
Jim, Louise is racing your car.
Jimmy, we probably have a great many young people watching our show tonight, and for their benefit, I'd like your opinion about fast driving on the highway. Do you think it's a good idea?
A good point. I used to fly around quite a bit, you know. I took a lot of unnecessary chances on the highways. And I started racing, and And now I drive on the highways, I'm extra cautious. Because no one knows what they're doing. Half the time, you don't know what this guy's going to do with that one. On a track, there are a lot of men who spend a lot of time developing rules and ways of safety. And I find myself being very cautious on the highway. I don't have the urge to speed on the highway. People say racing is dangerous, but I'll take my chances on the track any day than on a highway. Well, Gig, I think I'd better take off.
Oh, wait a minute, Jimmy. One more question. Do you have any special advice for the young people who drive?
Take it easy driving. The life you might save might be mine. You know?
Suspicious of everybody. Act like the whole world's your enemy the way you flare up.
Oh, people bug me.
That's right. Hide behind jive talk. People bug you. Well, people bug me, too. But I don't go around clouting everybody.
Come on, finish your beef, will you?
All I know is you've been in trouble a half a dozen times. You don't have any official record yet, but you're sure working up to one.
But you got a crystal ball, huh?
I pulled you out of fights 3 times myself in the last month. You're just lucky there weren't any formal complaints. The time before this in the supermarket.
It was the checker's mistake.
Yeah, but you didn't even give him a chance to rectify it. Boom, you throw a carton of milk right at him. Look, Tony, I'm just trying to tell you that you need help.
Hey, Mike, you want to be more careful. You could hurt somebody.
Keep your hands off me.
Sorry, Mike. Didn't mean to grab you. Those teachers are going to have a rough time with that one.
Hi, Eddie.
Hi, kid. What are you doing here? I thought you were going to make the old man get you a work permit.
He says they got to stay in school.
Well, nobody could make me if I didn't want to.
Okay, move it along.
So long, kid. Be a good boy and mind the teacher.
Come on, you. Unload. What do you mean? Get out. Where's your pal? Pal? I don't know what you mean. You packing around? No. Search the car. Well, what's he going to search my car for? What is he looking for? We're looking for a guy that's been peddling dope to school kids. And we had a hot tip that he was in this car. In this car? Why, there's 1,000 cars on a road like this one. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Well, if you were all right, why were you trying to get away? Well, I thought you guys were a bunch of stick-up men.
Extra. Sleeping pills keep killing them off one by one. Extra. Read all about it. The new drug menace that's sweeping the nation. Extra, extra. The underworld on the loose. Extra, extra. It tells a story of men who had to be stopped. Men without conscience and without a soul. Outside the law. Strong, brutal, heartless. Trading in human lives. a sensational expose of the sleeping pill racket.
High school kids, hopped up. That's right, high school kids, hopped up. Hot rod races, burglary, vandalism, arson. You name it, and we've had it. All done by kids. Kids so hopped up they couldn't tell you what they'd done.
And somebody's been supplying these kids with the stuff at a price. What a lousy racket that is.
It's more than that, Sergeant. Somebody's making addicts out of these kids, and for one purpose. To get them to do his dirty work in exchange for a few more pills.
Your job is to find out who that is.
Okay, Chief, I guess that means get out and dig.
That's right. You know the routine. Question Frankie's friends, his neighbors, anyone you can. Keep moving. Run down every clue.
You know, my fiancée has a kid brother in high school. They used to live in Frankie's neighborhood and moved away when the mother died. Maybe I could pick up something from him.
Yes, we know. That's one of the things I had in mind. I don't like to bring your personal life into this, Dave, but Bob Winter may be just the contact we need to crack this thing wide open.
I'm sure Miss Winter will understand, sir. After all, these kids are the future of this city. We'll have to get rid of any threat to them.
Have a talk with Clinton. Here's a transcript of a recorded interview with Frankie, made here in the judge's offices. Take it and see if you can find out more about it.
Okay, Chief. See you later, Your Honor.
Good luck to you, Sergeant.
The hottest of hot rodders. The craziest of kittens. High school Hellcats. Two terrific teenage movies.
Oh, what Hellcat she's going to make.
And the rockinest, rollinest of cats. Starring popular John Ashley, cute little Jodie Fair, satellite siren Jean Vincent, and that alarmingly charming Yvonne Lime, a kitten who has all the cats howling.
She wasn't bad looking for a girl. Personally, I prefer a hopped-up motor.
Guys who've got what it takes. Chicks who'll take all they've got. Together in two movie theater treats. Hot Rod Gang and High School Hellcats.
The in crowd calls it Mary Jane. Does it make kids wild? Distort their senses?
Anything goes wrong in this crummy town, they blame pot.
It's illegal to possess Mary Jane, yet it's hidden in almost every high school hallway and locker room.
How's your girlfriend? Girlfriend? Mary Jane.
Fabian and his girlfriend, Diane McBain. Their love jeopardized by Mary Jane.
I've read about marijuana. I don't condemn it and I don't condone it.
You've probably smoked it yourself.
I have smoked it. Do you admit it? Sure, you do a lot of crazy things in college.
Is it habit-forming? Dangerous? Brain-damaging?
Jerry, don't go. Don't you know what they're doing?
Have fun, fellas. I did.
Hey. Jerry, don't go!
Mary Jane, the excuse for anything. Is this what it leads to?
I hate the way that guy sings.
This is a movie, but every happening is real as life.
In regard to the juvenile crime problems, here is Sergeant Bob Vernon of the Los Angeles Police Department.
We of the Los Angeles Police Department Juvenile Division find that another part of the crime problem is the alarming rise in the ruthless and violent acts committed by juvenile gangs. Gang activity is just another expression of the delinquents' rebellion against society. Due to the legal restrictions controlling the purchase of firearms and other weapons, the delinquent is forced to use his own ingenuity to create, devise, and make his own lethal weapons. Probably the most common weapon used in juvenile gang fights is the zip gun. The zip gun, a lethal weapon, is created from a variety of common articles, such as the car radio antenna and the common household lock that you see here. Another very popular weapon is the switchblade knife. Due to its dangerous nature, this knife is now prohibited in California and many other states. This may be referred to as the delinquent's yo-yo. However, the purpose of this article is to inflict vicious bodily injury. The weapons you see displayed here, and many others, are presently being used in the increasing number of gang wars being waged throughout our great nation. Juvenile delinquency and gang activity is increasing at such an alarming rate that the Los Angeles Police Department alone confiscates literally hundreds of pounds of weapons, such as you see here, annually. It's indeed a tragedy that many of our young people must spend some of the best years of their lives behind bars.
Robbery, fighting, knifing, and murder are among the crimes committed by these roving bands of youth. Crime is one of the symptoms of the disease of sin in the heart.
Mr. Roger Arnberg, City Attorney for Los Angeles, reports.
Recently, a survey was made of 8,000 teenagers, 17 years of age or younger, who had passed before the juvenile court. Of this number, only 42 regularly attended Sunday school. More significant is the fact that not one of the parents of these 8,000 teenagers regularly attended church. This is a problem of grave concern to law enforcement officials. America today is probably the most unlawful nation in the world.
We cannot become too graphic regarding the symptom of immorality because of the very nature of the subject. To reveal the depths of degradation to which we have fallen, we turn to our own Washington, D.C., a city upon which the eyes of the world are focused, a city which should set an example to the nation. Listen, for every 1,000 births in this city, 188 of them are illegitimate. For the first 5 months of the school term last year, there were 185 pregnancies among public school girls. 70% of these pregnancies were among those of junior high school age. And this is only one city, our nation's capital. Immorality is a symptom of the sickness of society, the disease, sin, in the human heart. Another symptom of the disease of sin should be noted here. Harvard professor Carl C. Zimmerman reports that this symptom destroys 4 million American families annually. The very word reeks with tragedy. Law enforcement officers generally agree that broken homes are the underlying cause for most young people getting into trouble with the law. It is no wonder that Dr. Robert Fitch of the University of California at Berkeley says, our divorce system simply sinks into the slime. Divorce is a symptom of the sickness in our society. But the disease, as we have said, is sin in the human heart. Our educational system has been under indictment because of Russia's early successes in the race for space. But our schools are under a greater indictment because of moral laxness. Senator Estes Kefauver recently stated, our educational system breeds moral irresponsibility. Isn't it cause to hang our head in shame that in our American school system, which was based and founded upon the Word of God, we no longer desire to have the name of God even mentioned? God has become unconstitutional. How tragic it is that we have taken the Bible out of the classroom, only to have to put it into the penitentiary. The curbing of juvenile delinquency begins in the high chair, not in the electric chair. In our nation, we seem to have cast off all desire to right living. There is a marked lack of self-restraint. Profanity has become acceptable even in the highest social circle. If our national leaders, public heroes, and entertainment personalities use terms of profanity, is it any wonder that children write obscene language on the sidewalks, scribble it on buildings, and shout it at play even before they know what the terms mean? Profanity and obscenity are only symptoms of the sickness of society, of which sin is the true disease. The lowering standards of the entertainment mediums has had a real share in bringing about the crisis in morality which faces us today. A motion picture producer declared the phrase, "for adults only," brings the biggest audiences. Francis Melrose, dramatic editor for the Rocky Mountain newspapers in Colorado, a newsman, not a religious leader, said, "Let us hope that the months ahead will bring a change in movies." Not that movies aren't bigger, brighter, and more beautiful than they've been for several seasons. They are. But they have also made a great mistake. In an all-out effort to compete with television, movie makers have gone to deplorable lengths. In order to emphasize what they've done, they have produced some ads that are not only in questionable taste, but are also downright degrading to the whole industry. In the stories, marriage, the sanctity of the home, and the traditional punishment for doers of wrong seems to have gone down the drain, or would sewer be a better word? So says Mr. Melrose. Recently, TV stations in Southern California were monitored by a civic group for 5 days, Monday through Friday, during the 3 peak hours of viewing by children. During this period, there were 162 murders, 196 attempted murders, 26 conspiracies to commit murder, and 53 homicides. Assorted cases of arson, extortion, brutality, and physical attack were too numerous to even mention. It is no wonder that we have the senseless, brutal crimes by roaming youth groups. And yet, we let TV do the job of more. Department stores have stooped to handling books which can only tend to degrade their readers. Unspeakably filthy publications are being produced for distribution to our youth to the tune of a $5 billion a year business. Clever advertising blinds are used. For 10 cents, you can get a water pistol or a picture of your favorite baseball hero. Once these lascivious dealers have the name, a deluge of filthy materials may be received. When such scurrilous material is received, it should be reported to law enforcement officers. It is tragic that the Supreme Court of the United States has not upheld some of the rulings of our postal authorities in regard to the mailing of filthy and immoral literature.
Well, I've got a date for it's really hot. I've got the money, you pick the spot. Drink black coffee, dress fit to slaughter. Wash my face in ice cold water. We're gonna have a good time, baby. We're gonna have a good time. If I get weak and the steps get shorter, wash my face in ice cold water. I ain't slept last night, the night before that, but I can't sleep if I'm a real cool cat. If I don't go crazy and the drag don't bother, wash my face in ice cold water. We're gonna have a good time, baby. We're gonna have a good time. If I get weak and the steps get shorter, wash my face in ice cold water.
Pornography, obscene literature, lewd pictures, questionable advertising, sex parades are all symptoms of an illness. But the real disease is sin in the human heart.
Instructions are to prepare for an attack by an unknown enemy. That's what he meant. Hey, who do you think you are, anyway?
Answer me, or I destroy you.
Stop.
There's something behind this, something we don't understand. The weapon he uses, it's unheard of. Blasting flesh right off the bones.
Master control to fleet, set flight pattern to -.08. Increase speed.
They're coming right at us! Get down inside the cave!
You kids are in a mess. This is what you've got to do.
Under no circumstances are you to say you were in this house. The police will pass an innocent Winnie roast on the beach. But should they know of your actions here, that there's been a drinking party, nude bathing, an investigation will surely take place. And that will mean you're becoming wards of the juvenile court.
Why, Joan Barry, you're naked.
Suicide to most everyone, but to me it's murdered by marijuana.
I had to kill him. Before they killed me. I had to kill him. Can't you understand? I had to kill him. They killed me unless I kill them. Can't you understand?
Here is the screen's most shocking expose of the baby faces who have just taken their first stumbling steps down Sin Street, USA. Here is a picture that dares to put on film the ravaged lives in the adolescent jungles of America today. Here is the social register of the Shiv, the zip gun, and back alley emotion. These are the children of violence who live today as if there's no tomorrow. These are the delinquents.
Oh, I can't play my guitar anymore. My wife, she's found out the score. She said, I'm tired of you coming in at 4, and you can't play that guitar anymore. Well, I got me a job on a TV show. I was doing fine on rock and roll, but when they brought the contract out to me, my wife reached out her hand to see.
This is the city of Los Angeles, one of the fastest growing communities in the United States today. A city that still reflects the charm and customs of its native past. A city of culture, of advanced liberal education that keeps abreast of each new generation. A city of progress and tremendous engineering accomplishments. Los Angeles, city of the angels. But like any other city, it has its back alleys, its world of saints and sinners, and the half-world of dark shadows some of them dwell in. The darkest of these shadows is marijuana. In every large city, there are men like Captain Hayes, chief of the narcotic division. His job is to combat and control this evil menace. His fight, a 24-hour one. His weapons, simple but effective, patience and intelligence. Every case history tells the same story, a story that's a tragic pattern of men and women's lives. Cause, marijuana. This harmless-looking cigarette is cloaked in many innocent disguises. But light the match, inhale the smoke, and it becomes an invitation to your own murder. This killer and the man who sells it has no respect for anybody. His victims are any lost soul. It matters not to whom the soul belongs. The seller's method of operation? Simple. Keep the mind from thinking. The mind thinks, the world becomes a real thing, with troubles and problems without the answers. But he has the answer. Escape. Sell the dreams people want to dream. Keep them from waking up, because once they do, you're out of business. Of course, the rich can afford to pay more for their dreams. It's a profitable game, and when boredom sets in, heroin, cocaine, opium is always the next step, at higher prices, if you live that long. This man has no pride. To lay his hands on an extra $1, he'll set this killer loose on anyone, even your kids who go to high school. You may even know him. His name is Marky.
Oh, Ricky, I love you.
You would? Change 5 pennies for a nickel pop?
Be right back, baby.
Hiya, Marky. Shut up, you crazy kid. How many times have I told you not to mention my name?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Oh, you're getting good taste. Wish I was young again. It's gonna cost you $5 tonight.
$5?
That's right. Weekend special. 3 for $5, just for you.
Yeah, but $5, that's all I got.
Go tell your old man to double your allowance next week.
Oh, no.
Come on, dig. You want it or not? Haven't got all night.
Okay.
Have fun.
More. Hey, give us some.
Here, have less.
Oh, I'm on a great big purple cloud, and it's real purple. Hey, you look funny. You've got purple hair.
I'd like to share some of my thoughts with you about LSD. The story, particularly of LSD, and also that of any of the drugs of abuse, is really a story of much more. It's a story of the two generations, of those under 30, often called teenagers, teeny boppers, adolescents, or whatever, and those over 30, those of us who are the establishment. For drug usage is a symptom. The story is that of adults' defensiveness, hysteria, scapegoating, frantic passing of laws, and real helplessness. It's also a story of youngsters' rebellion, gullibility, of adverse reactions and felony and misdemeanor convictions. Tragically, the story has caused a tremendous failure in communication between the two generations, which has led to what we call a real generation gap. We've all been pretty helpless. Parents, schools, police, judges, doctors, hospitals, psychiatrists, ministers. There's no simple cause, like being too permissive or too strict or not caring for the kids, nor can one expect each parent to be a drug expert on many different drugs by reading all the literature and having all the right answers. No one's to blame. There's no simple answer. No school courses, movies, tranquilizers, nor laws to solve this problem. Rather, we must understand a couple of things about the adolescent, and perhaps that will lead us as well to even understanding some things about ourselves. Now, understanding doesn't mean that we'll be totally permissive. We'll certainly lay down some rules. But what we have to understand first is the adolescent struggles with his sexuality and his angry feelings. There's no time like adolescence where these struggles are more difficult and where one has to work harder to find one's identity in life. Drugs like LSD give the tragic illusion to the youngster that he has no struggles and no problems with sexuality and anger. He can pretend to himself that he doesn't have to explore the world inside himself and the world outside himself. Unfortunately, the youngster who's contemplating taking doesn't tell us about his hang-ups, as we call them, nor does any adolescent. But what he is to test us. He criticizes us and our society, the world we've created. And this leads to the second point that we must understand. This is the coexistence in the adolescence of extreme perceptivity and extreme gullibility. His gullibility makes the adolescent swallow the nonsensical hucksterings of any drug prophet who comes along. We could probably sell him Disneyland if we tried. On the other hand, it's his perceptivity which makes the adolescent seemingly such a problem for the rest of us. He criticizes what he sees as being imperfect in our world, and he sees things in the adult world that we would rather he didn't see. He sees the hypocrisies. He sees the stifling of the organization man's individuality. He sees our materialism and often shallow lives. Unfortunately, when he criticizes us, we get defensive. And this is where the generation gap really becomes so large. This is where we really turn off his listening to us. Sometimes we say all drug use is a giant communist plot. Sometimes we advocate censoring the radio stations that play rock and roll songs with words and ideas we don't like. Sometimes we frantically pass laws. But always we're defensive and not willing to admit that the youngster has to help us to create a better world instead of dropping out of the world as we know it with drugs. But adolescence is a time of paradoxes. These kids actually want us to retain control of the home, the classroom, and the campus, and not to panic or to be totally permissive. They want to know our ideas, but they don't say, for example, tell me about alcoholism. What the adolescent says instead, to test us, is something like, alcohol is worse than LSD. Then he watches our reaction. It's so important to let the youngster explore new ideas. For ideas and even rebellion can be good, but not the drug rebellion. Of course, these kids have us in a vulnerable position. We're a drug culture. That's the message at the beginning of the film. It's such a fundamental hypocrisy when we adults tell the youngsters that our drugs, our barbiturates, tranquilizers, and especially alcohol, are good drugs, and that it's their marijuana and LSD that are the bad drugs. What can we do? First of all, I think it's vital that we let people talk about drugs in the schools and at home, because to make talking about drugs forbidden is to make it very exciting. Indeed, I've talked to youngsters who take drugs who would rather be drinking alcohol because they like the effects of alcohol better. But when they're taking the forbidden drugs, they're thinking to themselves, what would Mom think if she knew? What would Teach think? Whereas they know if they're drinking alcohol and their teacher or parent found out, they'd probably just laugh and say, well, so what? We all drink too. Some of the schools that won't discuss drugs have the worst drug problems. Others, where they're minor drug problems, treat it like any other of society's difficult problem areas by discussing drugs, not preaching, but letting the youngsters form their ideas based on knowledge. An honest I don't know is okay to tell a kid, but not the big lie. We often rationalize the big lie by saying that it's for the youngster's own good. So, with LSD, we talk of deformed babies, unproven, to scare them. But that's what they don't buy. But let's face it, we can't equate the danger of a youngster rebelling with a very dangerous drug like LSD with the danger to him of long hair, even though we may not like long hair, because we can't tell the boys from the girls. And when we read in the paper about a sensational story that this or that drug is either instant happiness or instant death, let's keep our cool, as the kids say. Let's not get uptight, or let's be from Missouri, meaning let's be very skeptical, and let's go after the real facts. LSD, let's simmer down. We have to remember Above all, that the adolescents are struggling with their feelings of aggression and sexuality, along with the need to establish an identity. They are rebelling and experimenting sexually, trying to find out who they want to be like, what they want to become as they grow older. Many of them see LSD as offering a magic solution for these struggles. But because the drug helps the adolescent to pretend to himself that he's not rebellious or angry, nor has any sexual needs, it deprives him of the chance to work out his problems at the most crucial time of life. This is the greatest tragedy from LSD. Man's search for El Dorado in a pill continues. LSD will surely become obsolete as other more potent psychedelics are developed.
Where will they go? What will they do? Are they any farther out than the roaring 20s, the depressive 30s, the frantic 40s? When questioned individually, these young people said, there is nothing wrong with this generation, nothing that wasn't wrong with past generations. We will grow up and move on into the next generation. We certainly hope so, because in the final analysis, whom do they hurt? Mostly themselves and the ones who love them.
This Images and Things program was produced by the Northern Virginia Educational Television Association for NIT, National Instructional Television, in association with a consortium of 26 educational agencies.
I really don't think I'll ever learn to type 10 words a minute. It's no sort of record for me. What are you going to do tonight? Oh, I don't know. Second time.